You never work in this town again. Maxine, what are you hiding?
All right, so let's talk about the 6-minute teaser that was shown after the rerun screening of X last night. So we were able to attend that, and A24 had this thing where you went to go watch X, you would get to see the 6 minutes of Maxine. I went in there thinking we were gonna see Maxine because I thought it was gonna be a whole thing. Like back, I forgot when Beau is Afraid came out, and they did the Midsommar re-release, and people went to go watch it, and they said, "Never mind, you're watching Beau is Afraid." So I thought we were watching Maxine. That's just what I thought, but we didn't, y'all. I'll be watching it in a couple of weeks, so very excited for that still. Before we talk about the 6-minute teaser and what it could mean, I want to go ahead and let you know to go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're on the road to 35,000 subscribers. We are less than 5,000 from that, so super excited to try and reach that milestone. And we got some cool stuff on the website if you want to check it out as well, www.culturalelixir.com. But we got some videos as well, Small 2 breakdown, as well as a video where we're breaking down the new Longlegs cryptic website that just dropped. So ton of stuff on the videos channel here and also on our website and social media channels. So find us wherever you can, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. But let's get into the 6-minute teaser, which we're just so excited to have watched. So after X finished, which by the way, ton of theories after rewatching it. I hadn't rewatched it, I think, in years. I think I just watched it when it came out in 2022 in theaters that opening weekend, and then I didn't watch it because there was just a ton of things to catch up on. So rewatching it again, there's some moments in the film that make sense for Maxine and who could be actually the one stalking Maxine, which that will be a whole video next week. Let's talk about the teaser. So after the movie ended and everything, the teaser for Maxine started. And I think this was mainly just the opening 6 minutes of the film because it kind of starts off like Pearl, how X starts. This sort of barn doors opening up into the larger frame. But here, instead of barn doors, we have like a studio that's opening up, and through it we see Maxine come through. Before that, we had this like home video footage of sorts in which we see a young Maxine Minx who's about 9 or 10 years old in 1959, and she's doing like this whole little dance of sorts, and it's sort of the dance that we saw Pearl do as well in the Pearl film, which I thought was kind of interesting, these parallels to Pearl and to Maxine, especially watching X as well. You really start to see that a lot more, and why Pearl says you're just like me. And so what we see is that Maxine Minx is like this 10-year-old girl who is performing, and in this banner behind her is like the name of the church and everything that her father works, because of course her father is like the preacher at this church. We see that the father is the one filming and saying that Maxine has to be this great performer and saying the infamous line, "I will not accept the life I do not deserve." And the father is basically saying like, yeah, if you want to live your best life and everything, you have to say it like you mean it. And we see that she's not really vibing with this whole thing. The father is basically implying, you're going to take over this church one day and you're going to lead the people and all of that. So you have to really live by this life. And we see that Maxine's not really vibing with that. So then we cut to years later. We're now like in present time when this is all happening in the 80s. And we see that Maxine apparently says that they are now about to be 33 years old almost. So they're looking for their big break and they're trying to move forward in their life. And we see her come up to the casting directors. This is a interview audition for the Puritan 2. And they basically say like that they know she's worked in the adult film industry and now she's trying to break into Hollywood, and how about she's going to do that. And she says that she really wants to be famous and known all over the world, and being an actress, being in Hollywood is the way to achieve that. It's not really going to come through with the adult film industry. And we see as she reads the lines for the Puritan 2, and we see Elizabeth Debicki's character of Elizabeth Bender, I believe that's her name, as a director here, and she does a great job in the performance. It's a very heartfelt performance as well, really showing the range that Mia Goth has, sort of similar to the monologue scene in Pearl. You see her crying and things like that. And then when she's done, back to character, back to Maxine Minx, like nothing ever happened. And then we see that Maxine is able to sort of go out and gloat to everybody else who's waiting to audition that they should go home because she basically has the part now, as she gets into her car and the license plate reads Maxine, and this is seemingly the opening title card. And that's basically the whole scene in 6 minutes right there. Now the monologue that she reads is that devil thing she's talking about, that I've seen the devil and it's stalking and it's praying and all of that we've heard in that trailer before. But I thought that was interesting that that's not actually like Maxine Minx herself saying that. It's actually a character in the movie she's playing that says that. So I thought that was a pretty interesting aspect of it. But the whole 6-minute teaser does have me asking questions more about where exactly is Maxine now, like mentally, because of everything that happened in X. And something that they kept talking about in X is that this is going to come back and it's going to be something that she's never going to forget. And sort of her monologue she gives when she's auditioning for this movie is saying the same thing. And we start with that sort of tease towards the beginning of when Maxine was in the church still and all of that, how she was sort of being eyed to be this new leader of sorts. And when you see the church scenes and everything from the television when X, you see that this is more of a very cultish and feverish sort of sect of the church than just a regular church experience, I would say. So that goes into my theories that not only is whoever's stalking and killing is trying to get to Maxine, but also the church at the same time, because it seems that they were really preparing her to be sort of this leader of sorts. And now to see that Maxine has not been that way makes it much more interesting as well. And then something else to note is that in this teaser and stuff, we see a quote about from Betty Davis: "You don't become a star until you become a monster in this business." And I thought that was interesting to note that what exactly is going to happen with Maxine and her image here as well. How are they going to be perceived in this movie if that's the case? To become a star, you have to be seen as a monster. So I feel like a lot of what's going to be happening is Maxine is going to get the finger pointed as the one who committed the acts in X, because who else would they think at this point? There's no concrete evidence that Howard or Pearl did all of that, and especially with some of the victims that they had before. But that's for the whole other video next week, so stay tuned for that. So I thought that was interesting right there. And also the theory that was floating around and speculation or rumor that Maxine wasn't the real name and they had made a new one. I don't know if that really floats with the whole thing here, because the father taking the video does call them Maxine. So I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on what do you think about this 6-minute teaser? Where do you think this film is going with Maxine? And how is the trilogy going to end? I have a whole theory video coming out next week after rewatching X and this clip and all of that. So stay tuned for that by subscribing and notification bell, turning that on. But we're on the road to 35,000 subscribers. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow us on our website, www.culturelixir.com, as well as our social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all provided down below. And I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.
The follow-up to a film that possessed a nation. The Puritan 2.